Alright, good afternoon, morning, or evening, or wherever you are right now. Today I'm going to be going through the dockyard ships as requested. We're gonna just summarize each dockyard ship from tier 10 to tier 2. Now, I know some of these aren't the full dockyard ships, but some of them are ships that were included in dockyards. I did ask Discord to make sure so we can mention the entire list. We added on Yahagi, Dreadnought, Tachibana, and Graf Spee. We added those on. So I'll explain which dockyard each one, not by number, but I'll explain which dockyard which ship was with, by ship name, obviously. But anyway, so I'm basically gonna summarize each ship. I'm not gonna talk too long about each ship. Honestly, this video shouldn't be that long, because we don't have a lot of dockyard ships in the game, as you can see. Main dockyard ships, let me just mention, were Puerto Rico, Hizen, ZF6, Marlborough, Anchorage, Odin, and D7 Provincien. Those are the actual dockyard ships, not in order, of course. Then there's, of course, Gorizia, which was linked to the Puerto Rico event. There was Graf Spee, which was linked to the Odin event. Repulse, which was with the Marlborough one. And then Yahagi, which was with the Hizen. Dreadnought with the Marlborough, and Tachibana with the Hizen. If I did miss one, guys, do please let me know in the comments below. Or if you have any feedback, guys, anything, leave them in the comments below. And thank you so much. So, starting off with the first one here, as we know, probably one a lot of people know, and know in not a good sense because of the drama that happened a few years ago in regards to this. This is the first dockyard ship ever for World of Warships. It's the Puerto Rico. Now this one, well, I personally, actually, to be honest, guys, do not like this one, right? I'm gonna just show you the armor schemes, because feedback from last time showed that you guys really wanted me to show you the armor schemes on the ships. So as you can see, we have a 27mm nose, 30 side plate, 27 back, and then we have 38 deck. So the deck armor is actually really high, right, on the Puerto Rico, which is nice. Biggest issue would be you have a lot of superstructure, as you can see, and you also burn for 60 seconds with no ability to put fire prevention on. So you're basically stuck burning for 60 seconds unless you put all the flags and modules and commander skills. But actually, I don't think there are commander skills. But anyway, concealment, not really that good, on par with some battleships at tier 10. Reload, really bad, 19.4. But you do have 12 guns, very cool, with relatively bad accuracy. So the accuracy isn't too crazy. It's not like Alaska, it's actually worse. You get quite a lot of HP, 76,000 HP. The gun range isn't anything to be crazy about. Honestly, it's not that much. I believe Alaska gets more. But Puerto Rico is similar to Alaska, but also different, right? Because it's like an Alaska, but with more battleship characteristics, but like less, like the cruiser accuracy. You still get the improved AP angles, which is nice and stuff. That's cool about it, The HE is okay, I've played this thing recently. I've still had fun in it. It's not too fun, but sometimes it can still be fun to play this thing around. And it's not actually that slow. It's actually relatively speedy, 35 knots. What does it come with? It comes with radar and hydro. I don't put on the DFA. A lot of people I talk to actually put the spotter plane, because the radar doesn't really help you too much because of the concealment. But I think radar is okay to have always. Something you guys will probably ask me, is this the only perma camo you can get for the Puerto Rico? No. This is also the camo you can have on the Puerto Rico. So it's also a normal American camo. It looks very nice, as you can see. I think the ship doesn't look that bad. I know a lot of people think it looks bad, but I don't think it looks that bad. Anyway, that's the Puerto Rico. First one out of the list. I'm gonna show you the build here. The builds are available on Discord, guys. Just for you to know, tier 8s and up builds are on Discord, guys. So if you're interested, link is in the description. But anyway, that is the build. Let's move over to Hizen. So for Hizen, this one was also a dockyard ship. Again, nothing too special, honestly, at tier 9. What was its main feature, you would say? Well, it had 12 410mm guns, right? Similar to Izumo guns, right? Except the dispersion, I believe, is actually worse on these, because you do get more guns. The reload is worse, because you get more guns. And the armor on this thing is actually worse than Izumo. If we click armor layout, as you can see, it's covered in 32mm armor everywhere, which honestly doesn't help it at all, because The gun range is limited to 20, and you have no ability to buff it. Actually, you do. I haven't played this thing in ages. I'm sorry. You do. I don't know. This one was really bad when I played it. Not really bad. It just wasn't fun for me, you know? The armor just... I didn't enjoy it at all. I feel like Izumo would do a better job. I can assure you Baji is a better ship because of its accuracy and its minimal superstructure to be able to farm. The Hizen actually has quite a fair amount of superstructure, and it's a really big ship, right? The concealment's nothing too special. Honestly, 13.7. I don't know. I didn't really get blown away by the Hizen. It's just a ship I have, and this is the festive camo or whatever it has. Really nothing to say much about the Hizen. Here you go. This is the normal camo for the Hizen. Here you go. Quite interesting. Quite interesting if we were camouflaging inside a forest, but there you go. Pretty cool. Next one. This one's actually one I really like. ZF6. The camo was horrendous for this one, but... you know, the ship itself is actually really good. I have uploaded a recent video on the ZF6, which you might have seen. I did enjoy the ship playing it. It has really good concealment for tier 9. Decent maneuverability, not crazy. Great torps. It's French torps. I know they're only 8 kilometers, but they're fast and they do relatively good damage, right? Which is nice. The guns are wonderful. Now, they reload in 3.3 seconds. Not crazy, right? But as you can see from the armor penetration capacity on the HE shell, 32. So that means you can pen battleships at tier 9. So, for example, ZF6 versus Hizen, the ZF6 can pen the Hizen everywhere, right? And do full damage, basically, everywhere with the HE. It's wonderful. Another feature of the ship is the AP is actually, I believe, improved. Improved angles, I believe. But the alpha's lower. That's okay. And then you have reload booster on a German ship. Wonderful. Crazy. It's crazy. The ship is actually really interesting. It was actually really interesting when it came out. And it's still really interesting to this day. Very wonderful ship, actually. Definite recommendation on this one. Well, I'm not trying to recommend you the ship because sadly, you can't actually earn these ships anymore. But like in the removed ships video, I'm doing this for people who already have the ship or people who are interested in the ship who's never gotten to actually play the ship itself, you know, or maybe you started playing the game later and you don't know what these ships are, but here we are talking about them. Now, the biggest thing of it, right, is it doesn't have hydro and it's German, but that's okay. Neither does Z44, and this has improved concealment, 5.8. So this is the normal camo for the ship. As you can see, it resembles French camos. The look of it resembles a French ship, and it has French torps. Guys, I'm sure you guessed it. This was a French ship. I believe it was captured by the Germans. So in game, look, it's an unfinished Lahari class destroyer, as the game said, captured by Germans. So there you go. So it's basically like a mix of the two nations. It doesn't have French saturation, guys. And importantly, it has smoke. But anyway, let's move over to the Marlborough. So the Marlborough, right? This one's the latest Dockyard ship that got released. I personally did not like this ship at all. But there are people who come in my chat and tell me that they actually enjoy playing it. And I can't say they're wrong because, I mean, people can enjoy playing whatever they want. And here, what's the biggest, like, weakness of the ship, right? I believe it's the guns and the armor. But, like, the guns, you get 16 of them, right? You get 16 356 millimeter guns. Look at these tires, how crazy they look, right? The reload's pretty good, 22 seconds, not bad. HP, the actual HP itself isn't bad. The maneuverability, it's not too bad. The concealment, I don't actually have it buffed up. Let's buff it up here really quickly. Put this on. Sorry. 12.1. Again, isn't too bad. It's actually pretty good for tier 9. But, as you know, the armor, similar to Hizen, all 32 everywhere. That means you get penned a lot, right? More than, like, other battleships. Because certain battleships have an armor deck, for example. Maybe if we get to Odin, I can show you. But this one's all 32, right? So that's one of your biggest weaknesses. Another weakness, if we take a look at the Citadel, look how high this thing sits. If you're caught full broadside to anything like a battleship, you're gonna get smashed. So you have to play it really carefully, right? I believe the gun angles aren't crazy too. It's very similar in terms. It just reminds me of Vanguard, if you know. Vanguard, if you sit full broadside, you'll get smashed. And if you angle, you can be relatively more tanky. The heal isn't a British heal, and it doesn't get spotter plane. So your maximum gun range is 20.9, which isn't really unplayable at tier 9. But there you go. The Marlborough. Is it good? I personally did not like it at all. I just couldn't get like with the low fire chance. That's another weakness of the shells. They have low fire chance. The pen is high, but the fire chance is low. The alpha is low. People who have played it and said they like it have said they use AP a lot in it because there's like 16 AP shells. If you land like 10, they do quite a fair amount of damage. To be fair, when I did play it and used AP, it does seem like it's better than just spamming AG. So maybe I just have to play the ship a bit more. But there you go. Let's look at the camo for the ship, guys. So this is the camo for the Marlborough. Normal camo. Here you go. This is what it looks like. There you go. If I did miss something, guys, about any ship, just let me know. Obviously, I'm gonna miss some things. I'm just trying to recall from my memory, of course, about every ship and everything. Okay, but anyway, let's move over to the Anchorage. What is this one? This one is, if you guys know about the Tech 3 Tier 9 cruiser Buffalo, you might see that this hull is very similar, right? This hull is very similar to Buffalo, and that's because it's the same hull as Buffalo, actually. It's the same ship as Buffalo, except, yeah, it's the same, all 27. But biggest thing is, maybe you notice from the sides here, there's a hole in the hull. What is that for? Well, you get torpedoes on this one, right? You get torpedoes on the Buffalo hull. But Malta, what? Why would they put Fletcher torps on a tier 8? That's actually a tier 9 hull. Well, they have nerfed some aspects of the Buffalo. Most importantly is they removed the heel. But another fact is they removed the radar. Now, what did they give it? Instead, smoke. You can get up to 3 smokes on your ship. American smoke screens with Fletcher torps. So this is basically a Buffalo with no radar, but it gets smoke instead, right? And no heal, right? It's really big. It has quite a fair amount of HP, 41,000. I believe that can get buffed. If I don't have a C, it can get buffed. So we can put it up to 45,400. And then, most importantly is, I believe it keeps the same HE as Buffalo. The issue here is the AP isn't actually Buffalo AP. And I don't think it's American like tier 8 plus AP, like Baltimore, Buffalo, and Des Moines. This is actually, I believe, New Orleans AP. So that's another nerf this ship had received. The concealment, if I actually have a captain with concealment on it, so we can actually check Mr. Malta guy. There we go, 10.7. Honestly, not too bad for a ship like this. This ship isn't too bad. Biggest issue, again, reload time is also nerfed off Buffalo. But I mean, that's to be expected if it's tier 8 with 12 203s, right? But there you go, that's the Anchorage. And I'm going to show you the camo for the Anchorage here, the normal one. This is what it looks like. As you can see, it looks very similar to the tier 9 cruiser Buffalo. Let's move over to Odin. This is a ship that looks quite interesting, to be fair. I know a lot of people did like playing this one. I haven't really gotten to play it a lot. I thought it was going to be like a tier 8 Scharnhorst. But the guns are actually not, I mean, they're not that small, right? So they're 305s, 23-second reload, which isn't too bad. German dispersion, which isn't too good. Biggest issue is its low HP pool, 52,800, which is similar to tier 6 battleships. But that's not the biggest thing it has. It's relatively fast. Not relatively stealthy, but it's quite stealthy for what it's actually doing. I do run fighter. I think I played it in Brawls last I played this. There you go, I'm running secondary build on it. You can get your secondaries, I believe, up to 11.5. I think you have to take a flag for that, 11.3. 11.6. Okay, it's 11.6. And let's just make sure I have this. I do, 11.6. But there you go, that's the Odin. Equipment, unlike Bismarck or Tirpitz or Brandenburg, where they either have Hydro, for example, the Bismarck has Hydro, or Brandenburg, where it gets Torps, or Tirpitz, where it only gets Torps. The Odin gets both torpedoes and Hydro, which is quite interesting. And most importantly here, we'll look at the armor scheme. 50mm deck, 45 side, a 60 icebreaker, 32 nose. It's quite fairly armored, guys. This is quite a fairly armored ship. Don't show full broadside, obviously. If you show full broadside in anything, obviously. The superstructure here is not that big. It's actually relatively small, but it still does get farmed. Obviously, it only has 52,000 HP, but that's the Odin for you, and that's what it looks like. I think this one was also a pretty good dockyard ship, definitely. So I'm gonna click the normal camo so you guys can see. It's actually really similar. Hasn't changed much. Anyway, let's move over to D7 Provincien. It's getting dark in game, huh? It's getting dark in my port. Wasn't it like really bright when we started? Alright, so this is D7 Provincien. A ship a lot of people said was mediocre to boring and didn't like. I personally do like it for randoms, but I can see where they're coming from because it has and offers, as you can see by equipment, 0 utility for the team, right? It's a cruiser, light cruiser. Normally light cruisers at this tier like Chapayev or let's say, for example, Cleveland or Montpellier, which is also Cleveland, or Mogami, or, you know, Mainz. Any of these ships, or Edinburgh, for example, any of these ships either carry smoke, hydro, or radar, or at least some of those or all of those, you know? Well, this one doesn't actually carry any utility whatsoever, which is okay, I guess. It doesn't get hydro, which is a bit confusing, but I mean, how many things can you give it, right? The concealment is currently on my build is 10.4, but if you actually buff it fully, you get down to 9.3, which is actually really stealthy. But I personally don't like it like that because I like buffing the rudder shift on this thing, because I feel like I'm gonna be open watering a lot in this. And so I'm buffing the rudder, and I want to keep propulsion mode also. Consumable speed boost, which is quite interesting. Repair party on a light cruiser at tier 8, which is quite interesting as well. But most importantly, you get Dutch airstrikes, 34mm pen. You get 3 drops. They're smaller drops than the tier 10, but you get the same range as the tier 10, which is, I believe, better than the Harlem, because I don't think the Harlem at tier 8 gets that range. But anyway, here's my captain. This is to buff airstrike and stuff. I feel like this is a good build for the D7. But yes. And yes, this is the only, I believe, Dutch cruiser with actual anti-submarine warfare capabilities so far in the game. Goodenloo, Haarlem, Johan, none of them, I believe, get actual depth charges or depth charge planes. This is the only one so far with that ability. But there you go. That is the D7. I personally like this one. It reminds me of Nevsky, but, you know, obviously worse because it doesn't have the super utility or, you know, range or but it's tier 8, you know, or the shell travel time, but it's tier 8, so it's understandable. The HP pool's pretty good, but yes. And this is what the normal camo looks like. I definitely prefer the crazy wacko camo, of course, of the war paint, the 7 Provincian. But this one is a real ship, by the way. This is the historical camo for the ship, and there you go. That is the 7 Provincian, and those are the actual original dockyard ships. And now we move over to the sub dockyard ships. Well, I mean, like, where you could, when you were grinding for the bigger dockyard ships, you get these ships, right? Gorizia, as we know, it was in the Puerto Rico event. It was the free ship we got. You didn't actually have to pay anything to get the ship for free. So the equipment here, this one, the gimmick, it's like a Zara, but as you can see, they removed the torpedoes from the Zara here, and they gave it hydro. But it's not just any hydro, guys. This is a 6 kilometer here, basically 10 German hydro. So there you go. You get Hindenburg hydro and a Gorizia, which is quite interesting because you get fuel smoke too. So you get fuel smoke and hydro at 6 kilometers, which is quite crazy, to be honest. But the issue is, of course, you remove the torpedoes. So if you're playing a Broly playstyle with the hydro, remember, even though you have the hydro and the smoke, you won't have torpedoes. That's the trade-off, right? What's nice about the Gorizia in-game, even the Zara actually, as you can see, the catapult launcher is up front. If you launch your plane, you can actually see the plane come up from the front. It's quite interesting. Survivability, 40,000, pretty good. Main battery, I mean, slow reload, but you get sap and AP. I think this one's a wonderful ship. Decent gun range, plus spotter plane, decent speed. And not really great concealment, but you can't argue with it because concealment for tier 7 cruisers isn't really the best in this game, so there you go. I think this is actually a really fun ship. It's very good. But again, I don't believe you can earn it anymore, at least so far. Who knows what they can do. Camos, that's the only camo we got for the Gorizia. Graf Spee, I already talked about the Graf Spee, so I'm not actually going to go into detail on this video. If you want to watch the Graf Spee in detail, I talked about it in my previous removed ships video. I'm sure most of you have seen it, or some of you have seen it. If you haven't, I'm sure you can find it on my channel. It's about a week ago. I'll try leave it in the description for you guys. But this is the Graf Spee. Repulse. Oh, and wait, that's the camo for the Graf Spee. I'll show you the camo alternative for the Graf Spee. Here you go. That's the normal camo for the Graf Spee. Next ship is one I was asked about last video, of course, but I didn't talk about it because I wanted to talk about it in the Dockyard video, because technically you got it for the Dockyard, right? So here we are, talking about it here. So this is the Repulse. We got it in the latest Dockyard event. Even though Marlborough, as I said, wasn't a crazy good Dockyard ship, I thought it was really bad personally, but some people like it, I guess. I personally thought the Marlborough was really bad. I really think the Repulse is really strong, to be honest. So this is my build in terms of upgrades for the Repulse. As you can see, speed boost, heal, spotter plane, DCP of course, and then for my captain, well, this is a good build. You can run brisk, you can go almost 40 knots. This reminds me of a incomparable at tier 6, basically same characteristics, worse armor, like incomparable, right? 6 guns, like incomparable, overmatch, like incomparable, decent accuracy, like incomparable, right? I mean, you get my point, right? The concealment isn't too crazy, of course, but I mean, this thing goes 40 knots with speed boost, brisk, and the maximum speed's already 33 knots. Stock, it's one of the fastest battleships at tier 6. Putting the speed boost on it makes it plus 8%. Plus brisk, which is, I believe, 8 or 10%. 10%. So you can get it almost up to 40 knots. I think it's like 39. So a 39 knot battleship with overmatch at tier 6, I mean, that's pretty good, right? So yeah, wonderful ship. And you were able to obtain this one for free in the latest Dockyard event. Just saying. So there you go. And of course, Repulse is a famous ship for people who do love history. And there you go. This is the Repulse. Wonderful ship. Armor scheme. Here you go. 26 deck. 16mm nose armor, which is actually quite bad for tier 6, but it's okay. 32 sides, you know. Again, you do get overmatch, but you're really fast. I mean, you're really fast for tier 6, so you can rotate and such. Anyway, Yahagi. I know there's a guy in my comments who always talks about Yahagi. If you've seen the comments before, he really wants a Yahagi video at some point, but well, not yet, of course. I don't know if we're gonna make a Yahagi video ever, but he can keep asking. I'm sure he'll talk about this in the comments. But anyway, so this is what the Yahagi looks like. With the camo on, of course. What's its gimmick? Well, it has, I'm sure he's gonna correct me if I make something wrong here, but basically, I believe its gimmick is, the guns aren't too crazy, but it has 12k torps at tier 5 to do 17k damage each, 60 knots. They're decent torps. The biggest issue of the ship is the torp angles. You have to be basically full broadside to torp with this ship. 9-second reload on the guns, 152s, quite bad HP. I don't really know too much about tier 5, so don't mind me if I make some mistakes, guys. It's really fast, that's for sure. The concealment's pretty good, but it's really fast. Like, it goes 36.8 knots, and then you can have the speed boost, which gives you 8% extra. It has hydro, fighter, DCP and stuff. But yes, it's a light cruiser at tier 5 Yahagi. There you go. That's the camo for the Yahagi. Quite interesting. All right. Dreadnought, also a Dockyard ship in the Marlborough event. We got this one for free also. I don't really know what to say about this thing, guys, except that I believe it's like a Bellephron at tier 3. I don't know what the main differences are. I think it has no AA here, I guess. Maybe it's secondaries. I don't know, guys. I'll be honest, I think we're going into the really low tiers at this point. But here we are talking about the Dreadnought. Armor scheme, guys. 16mm armor, 19 deck. Not sure if this actually matters at this tier or not, but here we are. So I'm sure there's people who actually like playing tier 3 And if you guys want to leave your opinions in the comments, I would really appreciate it, because I don't really know what to say about the Bellerophon, or sorry, the Dreadnought. And this is what the normal camo looks like, the checkered camo. It looks wonderful. And as we know, Dreadnought is one of the most famous battleships ever, because, you know, Dreadnought, you know, everything. So there you go, HMS Dreadnought. And the last ship on our list, Tachibana, I don't know. This was also obtainable for free, like Yahagi, like Dreadnought, like Repulse. But this one was in the Hizen event, like Yahagi. You could obtain this one pretty easily. You can still buy this one if you wanted to. Even Yahagi, I believe you can still buy it, and Dreadnought. So those aren't not viable. I'm just mentioning ships that were in Dockyard events. Concealment, well, this is where it becomes interesting, eh, guys? So we're gonna put a Yamamoto here on our Tachibana. It goes down to 4.7 detection. Very good. Really slow top speed. Not sure how it compares to tier 2s. I believe the AP cannot bounce on this thing. It's like impossible for it to bounce. So if you can pen with AP, only shoot AP. But if you can't, just shoot HE. Equipment. Well, there's a lot going on here. We got a smoke and a speed boost. Torps. It reloads every 22 seconds. 5-kilometer torps. I mean, for tier 2, these are pretty good. I mean, this ship's a pretty good ship. I don't really play it, but there you go. And this is what the normal camo looks like on the Tachibana. Okay, but anyway, that's pretty much it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Again, if you have any feedback, obviously leave it in the comments, and do keep me informed on what video you want to watch next. Now, tomorrow, so I'm uploading this on Tuesday. Tomorrow I will be posting a Khabarovsk video, and then the day after I will hope to get it ready, a Grozovoi video. So as you guys really wanted, that we did a poll on YouTube about that. But yes, and I'm sure you watched the Sherman video I uploaded yesterday. But apart from that, all right. So basically, guys, that's all I have to talk about Dockyard ships. I hope you enjoyed this video. And again, like I said, if you guys want to see another one of these types of videos, maybe tier 6 premiums, tier 5 premiums, because we haven't talked about those yet, just let me know in the comments. I try to read every comment, guys. As you notice, I try to reply to as many as I can right now. Sometimes I won't be able to because I have started school again, but here we are. Again, big fan, guys. I'll see you in the next video, which is tomorrow, and I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, leave a like, a comment, maybe even a subscription, guys, or come on the Twitch, or join the YouTube, or join the Discord. I would appreciate anything, guys. Anything really helps me out a bunch, guys. But big fan. See you in the next one.